What is up, people? I hope all of you are safe and sound and at home. तभी बाहर निकलो अगर बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है. And make sure that you're safe and taking all the social distancing guidelines and precautions. Mask ज़रूर पहनना जब भी घर के बाहर जाओ. आज I'm really excited. I'm going to be chatting with the students from Chitkara University, and I'm really excited. I hope they've sent a request to me, and let's take them on. Let's see. अभी तक से आया नहीं उनका request. जैसे ही आ जाएगा, I'm going to start chatting with them. But oh man, work is starting a little bit. सब precautions के साथ लोग काम कर रहे हैं, and I just want to tell everybody to just take care of themselves and stay safe. Yeah, wear your mask. Yeah, Chitkara University is here. Let's try to get them on. Hi.
Hi, sir. How are you? How are you, Rannvijay?
Very good. Good evening. Good to see you guys. I hope everybody is safe and sound in your
I
family
am
and
so
everything.
sorry.
I hope everybody is safe and sound in your families and around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We hope the same for you, your family, and your fans who are eagerly waiting to see what you've got for us today.
So far, so good. Yeah, it's going good. How you guys doing? How's the university doing? How are you guys managing with the new normal? What's going on?
So for now, we haven't had kids on campus. We're waiting for them to come on campus and make it lively again. For now, it's a dull atmosphere with just faculty on campus, but we are going to take all precautions, all measures, and hopefully we'll have them on campus soon. They cannot
Awesome.
wait to come. We're getting messages every day.
But all these online meets and greets and Zoom calls and stuff like that, I'm sure you guys must be in touch with everybody, teachers and you know, all the societies.
Absolutely.
Ramsock, this, that, everything must be, you know, they must be itching to get back.
Absolutely. I think how much ever you try to make them feel like they're on campus through Zoom calls and through Instagram lives, but the feeling of being on campus cannot be replaced. So we are looking forward to having them back on campus.
So when do you think that's going to happen, according to you? Sorry.
We're not sure yet, Rannvijay. We are planning to get them by the end of this year, or maybe we haven't really decided yet because we need to make sure that it's safe for everyone to be on campus before we do so.
That is priority number one. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Lots of people want to come and start work and shoot and this and that. And what we are trying to do is that when we're on shoot, we're responsible for everybody around us. So we managed to do the remainder of the Roadies shoot, which we had shut in mid-March. We finished it in 10 days. But we had to be there 5 days before. Everybody had to be tested 2-3 times. Lots of precautions. We had an agency that took care of everything. Everybody was wearing masks and sanitization and everything. And you know, because the number one priority is health and people's lives. So
absolutely, for sure. So Rannvijay, let's get started. Please give me the privilege to host you. And we at Chitkara University are so excited that you'll be addressing our students today and also your own audience. And we're going to talk about many interesting things. We also have a few questions by our students today. But before that, let's touch upon the topic that we all want to hear from you, because you've been that person for us who has always thought of doing something first, setting an example, and then talking about it. Right. So let's talk about how much do you follow the mantra of be the change you want to see?
So first of all, be the change you want to see. The interpretation of it is very simple. It lies in the statement itself. If you want to see people not littering, for example, बहुत साधारण सा example, you know, you don't want people to litter. In my crew, there are 300 people, and I've been there for 17 years, so everybody looks at me as from an experience standpoint as one of the senior most people, not age wise or not because I'm the host or something. It's just by the virtue of service, like in the government.
Absolutely.
17 saal ki service hogi. You know, it's like that.
Right.
If I don't trash and I don't litter, and I
Yeah.
take care of how to put garbage or the plastic, especially when you're shooting, you pick it up and you keep it. If you do it yourself, because I want to see that change, everybody around me, it's a trickle down effect. It's a domino effect. It percolates down, from top down. That's one. At home, if you want your kid to be fit, that's the change you want to see. You want everybody to be fit, be aware of their, body, get their immune system to be strong. How does it happen? I'm not saying have a sculpted six-pack body. But be fit, be able to run, be able to jog, be able to do treks to enjoy the better things in life, which is nature.
Right.
If I do it myself, my 2-year-old daughter at that time, now she's going to be 4 in Jan, would
She's going
imitate
to be
me.
4, yes.
She would imitate me. She just wants to do what Dada is doing, right? So just by doing it as an example in front of her, it is encouraged her, it's shown her that that's the way of life. If a kid who's not had the experience and the the exposure of life, if she can see that example, then obviously others can. So you'll be responsible in everything that you want to see as a change. So what my change is, not necessarily yours. My change is that we should conserve water, for example. In that case, people around me, in my family, need to see, and I keep going and tokoing people, when you're brushing your teeth, shut the tap. When I'm brushing my teeth, I have to shut the tap also, right?
Absolutely.
When I'm taking a shower, I don't have to take a half an hour long shower. It has to be quick. So, touch wood, because of the upbringing that I've had my parents as my heroes, my mom and dad, they have led through their example. So for me, it's nothing special that I have to do this. No, it is how the world should be. If my parents wanted me to read, if they wanted that change, they wanted to see it in me. My dad was an avid reader. I would see him and I say, oh, maybe reading is part of life. You got to read, So this, if you multiply this in magnitude of bigger things and not something that surrounds an individual. If you say, I want a better society, I want a society that respects women, you got to be the change. You got to talk about it. Like today, I'm getting an opportunity. I talk about it. You will see that in my demeanor. You will probably see that in a personal experience with me, and that might change the people who are watching on this or the shows or any interaction or any public interaction, and that might change and have a trickle down effect on people who follow you.
True.
So you got to be the change that you want to see.
Right.
I have to be that person, that thing that I want to see, the way it should be. So if I want nobody to drive rashly on the road and my khud Tokyo drift and fast tourist around, then how is that going to be? How can that be a change? If I can't change, then what happens is that over a period of time, these things in life also change and you evolve as a person. Maybe when I was young, I wanted to do reckless things in school and college and ride bikes, and that time I wasn't aware or responsible. Today I'm a different person. I really do see that if I drive responsibly, if I wear my seatbelt, if I'm not on a cell phone, people look at it and they say, and sometimes they say, sir, your phone aaya, baat kar lo, mere friend say, you're sitting in the car, and I don't. I'm like, no, man, gaadi okay. Now that person's been subconsciously educated on the fact that if he's looking up to me or if she's looking up to me, that okay, this guy does this. So suddenly, till the time I'm driving, it's safer for whoever's in the car and for people on the road. But that's the change that I want in my life. So people need to first figure out what's the change that they want to see in the society, in their homes, in their life, in their families, and then be that change. Because the problem is in the lack of aim. The problem is in the lack of not knowing what to change.
Right.
I don't know. I want to be the change, but I don't know what should I change. So that is and because, I'm talking to, I'm preaching to the choir. You're such a honorable university, Chitkara University. I'm sure the kids there already know what they're going for. So I know friends of mine who might not have the same concerns as me, but they love animals, for example. I love animals. If you see in and around me through my social media, through my love personally, that I love dogs, I love animals and everything, and I want their life to be better, I have to do it myself, and seeing that it'll change. Or by my doing to that one particular animal or the two particular animals, it'll change for them at that moment, even if it doesn't have a trickle down effect. So that's what I think on this, and I think it applies to many things depending on what a person is interested in. Have I answered your question?
Absolutely. Yes, very well. And I can see from the comments that students are so excited. A lot of them consider you to be an inspiration. So the ones who've just joined, we are with Rannvijay Singha, a person who has said major life questions by our students now. Are
Let's
you
go
are you
for it.
ready to answer them?
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question is, what is the craziest thing a fan has done for you?
There are some really crazy ones. When I was younger and single, there were really crazy things that have happened. Um, but I think it's a very humbling experience. It was crazy for me when the first time I saw my name tattooed on somebody. It was just bizarre.
Wow.
I don't know. It's not. It was not like I thought it'd be cool because lots of you have rock bands and you have other things that you get
Right.
tattooed, but
Right.
my name on somebody is this thing. First, I got confused. I was like, "Aapka naam bhi Rannvijay?" And he looked at me and he's like he was baffled and he's like, "Why don't you get it?" Because I couldn't. I
Right.
can't fathom the fact that somebody. Then I've seen somebody tattooing my face and then initials and all of that. So now I'm not used to it. But the other thing that really touched me is once I was giving an autograph. I remember I was at the Delhi airport. I was getting a coffee and somebody said, "Really nice, distinguished gentleman. Must be my age. I'm 37,
Right.
so he must be 36 or 35.
Yeah.
So
Right.
say 3 years ago, 32, 30. He said, please, I'm a big fan. My wife's a big fan. Can you give an autograph for my young son?" I said, "Great." I said, "Best of luck, dear. What's his name?" He said, "Rannvijay." So I said, "No, what's his name?" And he says, "Rannvijay." So I said, "Oh, how cool." And I was writing Rannvijay and he said, "We named him after you."
Wow, that
And I
is
was
a
like,
huge
"What?"
compliment.
And I couldn't look up to him because I was like, "Damn, this is." I just gave it. I was like, "Great," and I was like teary eyed, and I was like, "I can't do that." I think about it,
Right.
and it's I can't handle these things. So that's crazy to me.
Absolutely. So that shows us the kind of impact you have on youth, and that is why you called a youth icon, because everything that you want to follow it, they want to learn more about it. That's the whole reason why people at Chitkara University, all our students love you so much. I'm reading all the comments and there's so much love. They all look up to you.
So sweet of you. But you have some great powers because reading these comments, you're reading all of them. You're saying you're reading all of them.
Yeah, I'm reading all of them. And I'm listening to you. So you can probably we can have a short quiz later to see if I know all the comments and also everything that you said.
No.
All right. So the next
What are
question.
the other questions that you're? Yeah.
It says you have such a busy life and you wear so many hats professionally and personally. How do you manage your time? We see you playing with Kainat so many times on Instagram and you have a busy schedule. So how do you manage it all?
I'm going to be honest because that's what works for me the best. It is not easy.
Right. Yeah.
And if you ask my wife this question, she'll have a different answer. But I try to balance things. I really do
Right.
enjoy spending time with my wife and with my daughter. I really
Absolutely.
do love spending time with my parents. And the friends that I've made are the ones that kind of share the same passion as I do. Even my younger brothers. So what happens
Right.
is that, like I went river rafting day before yesterday, the people who went with me who are part of my bio bubble, my younger brother, my cousin, and Varun Sood.
Okay.
So when you go rafting, that's a passion of mine. You're going with your brothers and your friends, and you're sharing that. So what happens is that, and that's part of your work. Yet it's passion, something you want to do, and you're doing with people that you love. So that is a balance
Absolutely.
in one kind of an example. But
Right.
what I'm trying to do is that I've started saying no to some work if it's in my bracket of going to be with my family. So that balance, it only happens after you're secure about your profession and over a period of time. So sometimes kids say, of course, yeah, he can take time off for his kids. But that is a
Right.
tough choice when you have work, because in this profession, it's very difficult to say no. But to make that decision, if you have prioritized your things in your life, the reason I want to do really well in life is so that I can take care of my family, and we have the resources to have a good life and experience this earth and go to different places and do different things. but I don't
Absolutely.
want to
Yeah.
miss out. But I don't want to miss out on doing those things also. So
Right.
that's why you see me spending time with my daughter, with my wife, with my parents, a little bit with my brothers. Also work. Uh, this energy that every day I'm doing something or the other is just blessed, because I think my parents are very active people. My grandfather was also in the army. Everybody around me is active. We make each day count, right? So even on a lazy day,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, today there's no work or I'm not going out, but we try to do an activity. So we'd probably uh, do some crafts. If Kai was here, we do some arts and crafts. Try to, because
Right.
at the end of the day, my dad and my mom, they used to say, if you're to write today's report, SITRIP, it's called in the army, what is,
Right.
आज क्या constructive किया आपने? What, so even if it's reading a book, reading an article, knowing something
Right.
about somebody, something else, it's just that. So that's what, every day when you sleep, you're like, hey, today I got to know this, or I did this, or I cleaned my closet, or I wrote a letter, or I cooked food, everything. You just have to take pride in doing something. Just, even if it's,
True.
I mean, it's serious nahi hai. You don't have to achieve things every day. It's just like, hey, I wanted to watch that movie for a long time.
Right.
And because I
Right.
worked hard in the last few days, I have the time. I'm going to call my buddy, maybe I'll have some popcorn and I'll enjoy this. But it's very important to enjoy things. You gotta know that you're blessed. You gotta be grateful for everything that you have. Even when I'm watching a movie in an AC environment, I do take a time, a pause and say, wow, man, I have this luxury of sitting here and watching
Right.
great content, eating whatever I want. So the more
Right.
thankful that you are, I guess people see that, and I'm just I'm grateful. But it's not simple. You gotta balance things, and you ask my wife, she'll give you the
She'll
another
definitely have a
spice in the
different
story.
answer to it.
Yeah, yeah. But such
She'll
is
have a
life,
different
yeah.
story to tell. That is for some
Yeah.
other day. We'll probably want to understand her point of view also and know the real Rannvijay that she sees every day. How
Yeah,
would that be?
of course, because nobody's perfect, and I truly
Right.
believe that if you stop and think that you're perfect, and my fans think I'm great, then I'll have only one kind of life, which will be through this guy,
True.
this
Yeah.
instrument, and talking to these people, my fans or people who follow you. But there's a personal side to you, and you've got to be there too, and you've got
Yeah.
to be a normal human being. you you can't be a guy who has other people have tattoos of in your house. So
Right.
my wife
Right.
doesn't care about all of that. So that's the beauty of our relationship.
That is beautiful. Moving ahead, Rannvijay, we have another question which says, how do you see yourself post COVID? What is going to be your new normal? Also, do you plan to branch out into entrepreneurship? Too many questions in one, but it's all related to what is your plan after COVID?
So first of all, plan after COVID is I think I would like to be in a place where when I go out, there is space to run around, to play some sport without
Right.
meeting another human being out of your bio bubble. You understand? If
Right.
life has to be like this, that's the only difference. Because I, anyways, like to spend time with my family, which we got a lot of, and I'm really excited that for 5 6 months, just the three of us, we were just chilling and just every day we try and do something. Of course, I'd like to do activities with my daughter outside, but uh,
Right.
you gotta see the glass half full. So for me, post COVID, I am still more grateful that I got to travel so much. As soon as I get another opportunity, I'm going to go take my daughter for different activities. Not take the days that we have without lockdown for granted, and make them
For
count. Like I
granted.
said before, yeah,
Right.
I'm going to make them count. Like if there's a space that you can go to. We went strawberry picking. We were in London because I took my family there because it was relaxed. We went to feed the ducks. We tried to do more activities than we would usually do because the situation was such.
Right.
Having said that, that's one thing. Being an entrepreneur has got nothing to do with being in a lockdown, but uh,
Right.
it's a different question. So I have ventured into many different things in different capacities. The T-shirt that
Okay.
I'm wearing is of a company called Disrupt. Disrupt
Right.
is my own clothing line. This
That is wonderful.
Yeah, the hat is in collaboration with, this is RV, that's my sign. I don't I've been doing hats, clothes. I did a sneaker line with Fila. I have my own production house. I have a group of boys and girls called Squadron, which do adventure sports and adventure activities, and we do a lot of brand
Wow.
solutions for different brands. We make content for them. Um, on top of that, I have some sports leagues that I run. There's
All
for
right.
amateur football. There's a league called Creators Premier League that I run. Last year we started a basketball league, a 3-on-3 league in Bombay called Street Ball League.
That's phenomenal.
There's a league called there's a something called the Legends Cup, which is the biggest corporate soccer league in India. That I'm part of that. So I do.
Right.
There's a grooming line for men's called Whiskers for Men. I'm a partner in that. There's a
Right.
coffee that I'm part of. So
Wow.
that's what keeps me busier than other things.
Absolutely. And I think that is a great lesson for all our students who wish to be entrepreneurs in future to learn from that, you could have
You know,
so many things. Please.
it's it's the kind of university, the kind of background that one has. So I mean,
Right.
kids in Chitkara University, the networking they have, the platform they have, the kind of faculty they have, they will have the bandwidth to sustain whatever business they start for a bit. They will have the network of the right kind of people to help them promote it and all of that. So that's very important. And that's why people go to universities like yours, so that once they graduate and whatever their ideas are, the guys have each other to kind of
Yeah.
latch onto and move further. So it's very important, and that's why I say that college and university is where you can build your startup team in a way.
True. You can find co-founders and you can find that kind of
Yeah,
like-minded team that you otherwise won't be able to get. True,
yeah.
very true. All right, on to the next question then. So they want to ask you what is the weirdest audition that you've ever taken, considering you've been a part of so many shows. So what is the weirdest audition that you've ever taken?
There've been a lot of weird ones, but I'm going to keep it short. Lots of weird ones, because we're not a show where only singers come or people who think they can
Right.
sing, or dancers or people who. This is a show that everybody thinks that they can be part of these shows, right? There is no particular talent or skill that we're looking at. So we
Right.
have people from all over, right? Which so one of the we were in Delhi. I think it's about 8-9 years ago. We're auditioning this guy. He comes in as a blind guy
Yeah.
to audition for
Wow.
Roadies, which is okay, but he wasn't blind, so he was pretending to be blind. But the
Oh my
bizarre
God.
part was, like, for how long did he think that
Yeah.
we were gonna think that he was blind, and what did he think he was gonna get out of it? And
Yeah.
it was so simple, because Nikhil was sitting there as one of the judges at that time, and he said, because you're a blind guy, you would definitely know the number of steps between in a staircase, because a
Right.
blind person does know that, and Nikhil's an
Absolutely.
architect. And he didn't have any of those ideas, so we figured it out there and then. But it was just bizarre that, because he had decided to, wo tas se mas nahi hua. He didn't budge at all. And it was just
Yeah.
bizarre to, I mean, we know, and there are other guys who are saying, dude, I think I've seen him somewhere in this and that. But it was just bizarre, because till the time he didn't leave the audition, he's like, no, I'm blind. So it was bizarre.
That is a bizarre incident for sure.
Yeah.
I think let's keep that note aside and get to the question that even I want to know the answer to, which is what inspires you to put maximum effort in everything that you do? Because you do so many things. How do you give in 100% to everything?
Can you hear me? Is this still there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What inspires you? I think it's the work ethic that has been instilled in me since I was young, seeing my parents in the army,
Right.
the kind of hard life that the army officers have. The quality of life is amazing, but sometimes they work day in and day out, and their lives are at risk. And then when you compare it to your life, where hard work is just giving your time, and hard work and giving your 100% is being there, being efficient in an AC environment. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're doing an adventure, and that's part of your job. I'm like, how can you not be 100%? And some of the things that I do, if I'm not 100%, I wouldn't be alive. So I gotta give my 100% to everything. And I think people like to work with people who are there 100%. Like if I'm doing something with Whiskers for Men, which is a grooming line, it is because I'm that kind of guy. I'm a rough and tough guy, but when it comes to grooming, they understand that I don't have that much time to groom myself. So the products are such. There's a beard oil, there's this and that, and the interest that I have is because I'm passionate about many things. I'm passionate about sneakers. I'm passionate about riding a bike. I'm passionate about basketball. I'm passionate about traveling, and that's why I end up doing those things, and that's why you get the 100% from me. So it's very important to, like when you say be the change what you want to see, you also gotta understand what you want to see. So even in your own passion in your life, if you understand that, hey, I want these things, because if I actually ran behind money, and that's very important for people in the university, young minds to understand, if I ran behind money at a very young age, I would have gotten to earn money in these daily soaps and stuff like that, which I think are great, but were not kind of my it was not my scene. And those days when I got which I didn't shoot for like 300 days, I was going to Leh to ride a bike. I was going to different parts of the country to do adventures, part of the world. I was going to watch different sports events across the world, and that molded and gave me exposure. And that is why those kind of brands or those kind of things are happening in my life. And if I'm doing a league where it's all amateurs trying to get a ground, trying to get teams, jerseys, I'm interested in it. That's why you're getting my 100%, because it's part of my passion.
Right. So, Rannvijay, before I go to the next question, I would like to ask you a question that I have on mind, and I was thinking that we should talk about it because it's important for the youth and the current generation that's actually watching us, which is how much is money a byproduct of what you like and all, your passion, your energy that you put into your work? Do you think money is a byproduct and we should treat it that way?
For me, it is. I don't think it's the same for everybody. It's very pompous for a person to say, "अरे यार, मुझे तो पैसे की जरूरत नहीं, तुम्हें भी नहीं चाहिए." मेरी जरूरतें अलग हैं. I have fun playing basketball, which requires you 0 rupees. If you have shoes and you have a basketball court, it doesn't require money.
Right.
I like archery. If you have a bow and arrow, after that you don't need anything, right? You can be, and because I have a background where my dad was in the army and I had these facilities for free, is why my mental makeup is like, hey, we didn't need money to have a great time. You just go out and you play and you take a cycle and you go to the river and you jump in the river. There's no money included. But that might not be the same for many people. So I feel like I was lucky that I was born in a family where people were in the army and they have such a culture that you go to each other's house to have a party, and then because the people are so refined and because they bring in different cultures, there's a lot of secularism, that it becomes really interesting. None of us actually went to clubs or pubs or anything growing up because our parents were just meeting each other and being interested in each other's lives.
Right.
So I see that, hey, you don't really need money, you just need friends and you just have great conversations and you do cool things. Army is also a lot about doing activities. So Sunday there'll be croquet. Croquet is a sport that you play in a garden, or you'll have a putting competition, which is like in golf you do putting, or there'll be darts. All of these things actually don't really necessarily need money. So so for me it is, I need the money to have a great life, but I can't substitute it with not having the life. People just continue to earn money. They need to remind themselves of what is the reason that they were earning money for. Some people are different, their realities are different. Them earning money might make their family's life better, their life better. They might be able to buy a house, they might be able to feed more people. So this answer is only for an individual, which is me, and I can only answer myself because it means different things to different people depending on their background. I mean, I'm lucky. My dad is in the army, and I don't have to support my parents. I do as much as I can, but I don't really need my support, right? But
absolutely,
it's not the same for other people. It might be a byproduct for them in their needs, but a mainstream thing for them because they have to take care of their parents. So it's unfair to put yourself in other people's situation and answer for them. But eventually, one should know why they're earning money. So highly incentivized people are the ones who are earning a lot of money, but they know why they're earning it. So even if it's for your parents, even if it's to fund somebody's life or for your life, even if it's for that car, you will be able to do it much better if you have incentivized yourself. If you said, hey, I need to buy that house, I'm going to work 30 hours, I'm going to work 50 hours, in a week or 80 hours or whatever. But if you know why you're earning it, if you're just aimlessly, या मुझे पैसा चाहिए, तो वो पैसे के साथ मजा नहीं आता जब तक आपको पता नहीं कि आपको कैसे उसको spend करना है और करना क्या उसके साथ. You know,
True.
is 1 lakh great in my account? No, 1 lakh is great when I can buy a ticket to a place where I can go for a trek. You know, that is how I would like to spend money.
That does make a lot of sense, Rannvijay, and I think that gives a perspective to our students who are listening. Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you. We'll go to the next question, which is, we all define success in different terms. So how do you define success?
The fact that Chitkara University is taking out time and talking to me is good enough for me. Yeah, it's amazing. I would so that really does sum it up because people might say so a lot of people, even when journalists sometimes they ask you questions, sir आपने बहुत कुछ कर लिया, 6-17 साल हो गया आपको, ये वो हो गया, अभी पिक्चर कब करोगे? Because for other people to define success for you, are we back?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I audible now?
You're audible. For other people to define success for you is very easy. People can define success according to them. So journalists or people will say, "अरे आपने बहुत roadies कर लिया, लेकिन अभी तक से picture कब करोगे आप?"
जी.
For them, my success will be if a film does well.
Right.
Whereas every person's success has to be their own variation of it, their own.
Absolutely.
Right. So
yeah.
So maybe for us, Sundar Pichai is very successful because he's just he is. Well, he is.
Yes, he is.
But for him, maybe he's like, dude, I at this age, by this time, should have been on an island. Maybe his success was that, and it hasn't happened yet, right?
Right.
So to each his or her own, but you gotta find a place where you're happy.
Right.
You have to be not laid back, but content, right? Satisfied, but still have fire.
True.
It
Very
goes
true.
It goes down to being balanced. For me, the fact that I have the resources because I work, and I can go to my parents and we can go on a holiday and they're taken care of. Generally, they have the car, they have the house. And I can do that for my family, for a few people around me. I can employ people and make life better for them is success. Whether this money was coming from a coal mine, whether it was coming from the financial sector, whether it's coming from rent or from me being what I'm doing, that doesn't really matter to me. My aim was not to become a star. My aim was to provide and to have a good life. And whatever thing, whether it's the businesses that I've involved myself in, which are not giving back anything right now, but eventually, let's hope.
Right.
So that's success for me. And so they say, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Hopefully doing the same things and a lot more of it. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that balance that you talked about, which is to be content with what you have, but also not lose the zeal to do more, that is probably the nugget that I'm going to take away from here for sure. That is something that we all must strike a balance with, right? So, okay, before I go to the next question, everyone wants to know when Roadies is coming back. I'm tired of hearing this question now. When is Roadies coming back, Rannvijay?
Roadies is actually not gone yet. It's still on air.
Right.
Every Saturday, 7 o'clock, the next episode is going to be there. Once this this whole season, Roadies Revolution ends, only then, depending on the new normal and new situation, when can we have auditions? Will we have online auditions? We'll have to regroup and strategize and then figure out. For now, the next thing that we're trying to figure out is the other show that I do, Splitsvilla. And where to shoot, should it be a bio bubble, how many tests, this and that. So we're trying to figure that out. once this Roadies ends, we'll try to figure out how and when do we do the next Roadies.
So everyone who is posting when is Roadies coming back with auditions, that's the answer. Please stop posting this question now, because this is the highlighted question. We've gotten more than 2,000 questions saying when is Roadies coming back. Okay, so we'll get to the next question, which is, you've accomplished so much in life, but what is your choices or the most special achievement so far where you felt proud of yourself?
So again, this achieving so much is, again, it's easy for
Subjective.
Other people to say, oh, you've achieved so much.
Right.
For me, I don't think there's subjective. I still want to do and need to do many things.
Right.
Emotionally, I'm happy that I'm trying to be the best husband, trying to be the best dad, son, brother, friend. That gives me immense, and I do take extra. I'm an extra person. Like if somebody says, "यार अगर तेरे से हो सके तो जब तू दिल्ली आ रहा है और 4 चीजें कर रहा है, मेरी मम्मी को भी मिल लियो." I am that guy who will do it, and then that becomes the norm, and then I'm stuck doing it all the time, and I can't. So that's one thing, and I think that's what I'd like to do. Otherwise, I'm proud of that, and you know, it's annoying for people around me because it gets annoying when you're trying to please everybody, and I think that's my. But I'm proud of it. The other thing is, which is an achievement kind of a thing, is when I was in college, I cleared my written exams for the Combined Defense Services CDS exams to go to the Army.
Right.
Then you get an interview, which is the SSB, Service Selection Board.
SSB.
My SSB was in Bhopal, and I cleared my SSB, and then I cleared my medical. And that, when I had that plus sign on my chest number, and I was going for the medical every day, the kind of respect we got. And when I cleared my medical, I came back to where my dad was posted and how everybody was treating me, because they knew that I could be an officer. It was incredible. And all of this happened before I even thought of, I didn't even know what Roadies was. And the only reason I went for Roadies is to win a bike. So for me, that was a great achievement, because my parents were really proud, my grandparents were proud, and they were all very happy that, you know, the path that I chose, I was on it. Of course, things didn't pan out that way, but they're all happy right now.
So that brings me to the next question, Rannvijay, which is, what made you go for Roadies? I understand that you wanted the bike, but how did your parents react? And what were you thinking when you went on this journey, while you had the opportunity of also going to the Indian Army and you were there, you know, you were right there. So how did that turn take place in your life? What did you feel and how did your parents feel?
When I was born, I opened my eyes in the world. My Nana, my mom's dad, was in the army. His younger brother was in the army. My dad was in the army. My grandfather was in the army. My chacha was in the army. My chota chacha was also in the army. All my life, both my parents are ace sportsmen.
Right.
All my life, all I want to do is play sport and travel and do a lot of adventurous things, which I saw that my parents, as army officers and army officer's wife, they were leading. So I wanted to do that only because I was like, this is a great life, full of action, adventure, respect.
True.
And of course, it's a government job, so you know you have the security and all of that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And as soon as I cleared my SSB, my whole family was cool with. They were like, "Well done." I was even in the 9th standard, when my dad said, he came to my boarding school and he saw the house captain in the 10th standard. He's like, "Hey, I want you to become the house captain." So I did that. So whenever somebody asked me of doing something, I would do it. So I was always one of those guys who would just, you know, do it. So I said, yeah, okay. Now I had 3 months off between after my college finished and joining the academy. And that's when I saw the ad, and I already cleared my SSB. I was free for 3 months, and I saw the ad of Roadies, where if you win this adventure reality show, you do lots of things for 40-45 days, you can win this bike. So I said, hey, Dad, if I go for the show and I win the bike, later on, we won't have to spend money on buying a bike after the academy, you know, after I become an officer. He said, do whatever you want, yaar. Tu ja, jile apni zindagi. It was like Simran, ja. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go and enjoy my life for 40-45 days and come back and go to the army. It will be amazing. It just so
Absolutely.
happened that that's the first time I saw life outside the army. You know, the how
Uh-huh.
people work. I had never seen an office work or anything else. And the first thing I saw outside the army was these creative people, production, this, that, figuring out tasks, which was actually new for them. Also, it was not a done deal, and I saw them do it and get that creative satisfaction. And there was all those things that I wanted to do: adventure, traveling, riding bikes. All of that was happening there. So I was like, hey, this is amazing. And because I wasn't wanting to be in the media or this industry, I was so, you know, blah and just carefree, and I just spoke whatever my mind would. I wasn't gelling my hair up. I was wearing my basketball jerseys and everything. It came across as being very camera friendly to the MTV people. And they came back saying, hey, why don't you know, we think you have something for this side of the world. Why don't you try it
Right.
out? Not promising a job or anything. And at that moment, I was like, hey, maybe I want to do this. And for 5 generations, our families only experienced one particular thing. Maybe I could give my family another realm of experiences. We didn't know one person in Bombay when I came, and now anybody who's going to Bombay, just say, okay, I know Rannvijay, just go there, he'll take care of you. You know, so
Yeah.
we've seen the same experiences of five generations, but first time anybody that they knew was in a film, in a theater, when I decided to do this. Now all my brothers and everybody were doing different creative things, and I think that's the reason, and that's how it happened. My parents were apprehensive in the beginning because everything was set for me to go to the army, and they always believed that I'd be a good army officer.
Uh-huh.
And उस टाइम पे ऐसा लगता है ना कि अरे इसको हवा लग गई है, people are recognizing him on the street, अरे रोडीज बन
Yeah.
गया है, अरे
Yeah.
तुम्हारा बेटा तो बहुत हीरो है, all of that. But my dad, because I was always, like I told you, became the house captain, did whatever anybody. I played nationals. I went to a very good college also. So
Yes.
they said, what do you think you should do? I said, listen, let's give it a year. अगर एक साल में कुछ नहीं होगा, next year I'll clear my SSB again. I'll go to the army next year. So they said, okay,
Yeah.
why not? Give it a shot. So that is the year that is still continuing, I guess.
So how much does this industry excite you, Rannvijay? Because I know that you've always looked up to your father a lot, and you know that you had a privilege growing up being from, an army family. So how did this industry treat you, and does it excite you still?
My mother and my father are incredible people. I look up to my grandfather and my grandmother also. They're really like just simple, incredible people. They just helped everybody in their families and people around them. Just so
Right.
our uh, our bar is set really high in the quality of people that we come from. You know, so
Right.
I really do think that this industry is a place that is very giving. It gives
Yeah.
people happiness. The ones who consume it, who are not part of it, also it gives them happiness. It gives them hope.
Right.
For people in it, it is actually livelihood. You know, for a lot of my crew members who are not in front of the camera, it's livelihood for them, for their kids.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Their
Don't
kids
worry.
are,
Network issues are
yeah,
also the new normal.
their kids are going to school. They can feed their families because of this industry. A lot of representation of many social problems happen through this industry. The showcasing of this country happens through this industry. If I had to talk about just Roadies, the amount of places that we have taken people to and shown them in India, and the kind of
Yeah.
activities that you can do there, the kind of people that exist there, is a lot, man. And you know, it's difficult to kind of say that, hey, I want to be the protector of what people have to say against it, because there are bad people everywhere in every industry. I mean, the
Right.
corporate world is not a beautiful place to work. You know, the work culture
Yeah.
there. If the malpractices in every industry, be it whatever, is there. So of course there
Yeah.
are little bad apples here and there, but as a whole, man, what it does to this country, to the world, the kind of inspiration, the kind of happiness it has generated over generations, it's amazing. And it's not just one industry. The entertainment industry is settled not in one state. It's in Maharashtra, it's in Punjab, it's in
Absolutely.
Karnataka, Bangalore, Tamil Nadu, Jharkhand. There is Bhojpuri stuff. There's Uttarakhand mein hai. हरियाणा में है, हिमाचल में है, तो ये it's something that's imbibed in the culture of our country, and I'm really proud that I'm part of it.
We're really happy that we got you on, in this industry. Otherwise, we would have lost a gem of an actor. So I'm really happy that you made it and you chose the entertainment industry, because you've been entertaining us for years now and we are thoroughly enjoying it.
So sweet of you. Thanks.
Rannvijay, my next question is something that I also want to know personally, because being a fan of Roadies myself, honestly, when I was young and I was a kid, I wanted to become a roadie too, and I always looked up to you and thought that if someday he tells me that you did a great task, my life would be made.
You're doing a great task right now. The way you're
Sorry?
conducting this, the way you're doing this, the way you're conducting it, this is great. So you're doing a great task right now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Rannvijay. It did make my life. It's simply made my day, honestly. Thank you so much. So the next question is, what was the journey like on Roadies? Being a contestant, then you also hosted it, and then you became a gang leader. What was that? That journey has been long for you. It's an association. I think that's a part of your life.
Yeah.
So how has the journey been?
As a contestant, it was just ridiculously mad, because I was just getting up and they were throwing these challenges and these tasks and we were just doing whatever we wanted. It was amazing. There was no responsibility. Everything we did was part of the show. Roadies 2, I was just 21 and there were guys who were older than me and I was telling them that you're going to be on fire, this and that. For them to take me seriously, I had to be really, really efficient and proficient and be on top of my game for everything. I was doing tasks, I was showing how it's done, I was really, and that went on for 4 or 5 years. And then by Roadies 8, I was part of the selection procedure where Raghu, Rajiv and I would select people, because by this time I had, because of the exposure, because of the experience of meeting so many youngsters, probably I had the knack of picking good roadies. Eventually I became a gang leader and I won as a gang leader also, but then they realized that me being a gang leader, it becomes so difficult for the crew to, because I know more than them on Roadies. So eventually now from gang leader, I've come back to being the guy who's running the show. There are other gang leaders and I tell them what has to be done and we figure out twists and turns. And that's where I think I am at, and I'm really comfortable because I like to run the whole thing. But it's been a long journey, but it's been a different journey every year for me. And different. I've worked in different capacities, as a contestant, as a host, as a guy who's, there was a year when I was selecting roadies, so I had a different connection. There was a year where now the roadies are in my gang. Then there's a year when now I'm handling gang leaders. I'm telling them what to do. So it's a different experience for me, and also just physically, we're going to different places. So it's not like I'm going to the same office and doing the 9 to 5 job at all. Not one day is similar on Roadies in the last 17 years. So I think I'm very grateful and very blessed. So yeah, it's been good.
Wonderful. So I think, Rannvijay, we'll ask you the last question, which is also going to be where we are going to wrap up this session. I really don't want us to stop, but I think time is also constraining us. So my last question to you is going to be the basic one, which is, what is the message that you have for the youth of our nation? And what is the message that you have for students of Chitkara University?
First of all, I just want to congratulate the students of Chitkara University, that you are in a university that, things out of the box, gives you, I mean, this is an out of the box kind of activity, for all the kids who are sitting at home, they're getting to interact with a person that they relate with, with a member of the faculty. Also, this comes with pressure. The pressure is that if you don't end up figuring out the change that you want to see in the world with so much of exposure being in this university, then there's a problem. You got to question that. You got to figure out, you got to talk to your teachers, you got to talk to each other and figure out what is it that you think, touches that nerve, that chord in you. Identify it and then start being the change yourself, instead of कि मुझे पता नहीं क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, क्या करना है. First, figure out what you want to do. So identifying your passion, identifying the change that you want to see is the first step. Once you do it, act on it, because that's the whole concept. Be the change that you want to see. And initially, everything seems difficult. It looks like an uphill task. But if you do one step at a time and every day things get better, and in some time you're like, oh man, this is almost like second nature to me. Be it anything.
Absolutely.
And it just
Yeah.
so just continue to first identify it and just pursue it. Leave no stone unturned. Once you figure out what you want to do now, there should be no मैं 8 घंटे ही करूँगा 10 घंटे. It's a if you figure out what you want, it's just natural and you पता भी लगता कभी 50 घंटे you're just doing that and you never know.
Right.
So
True.
that's what I'd like to say to the students.
To the youth of the nation who are going to take the flag forward, will be the flag bearers of this nation. Thank you so much, Rannvijay. It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you, guys. It was
You've
great.
made my day. You've made the students' day as well. Thank you so much.
Take care. Stay
And-
safe, guys. Just another plea. It's been some time when we're in this COVID situation. Do not go out of the house if you don't need to. People who are going out must only go out if it's necessary for them to go and work. If you go out, make sure you wear masks, use the necessary precautions, social distancing, all of that, because you got to take care of yourself. And even if you're asymptomatic, you might be giving it to people who are more at risk. So be responsible for others.
Absolutely.
Just that.
That's
Thank
a very,
you.
very important point. A lot of us ignore it. That if we are asymptomatic, there might be people that we would infect and could be at greater risk.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. We look forward to hosting you on campus very soon, Rannvijay. We would love to have you on
Hopefully
campus.
soon, in when times are different, we'll also do that.
Absolutely. It was
Take
such
care.
a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for taking
Stay
out time
safe.
for our students and
Take care.
addressing them.
Best of luck.
You too, Rannvijay. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.